Hello and welcome to our Year with the Ears, our daily vlog where we relive our year living in the Walt Disney World resorts in 2019. Today is day 303.
We woke up this morning here at Wilderness Lodge, got ready for the day, and then headed up to club level to make sure we made it in time for breakfast. We had breakfast and then went over to our table to get some work done. Robert has some calls and some work he wants to do for clients today, and I'm doing our Q&A on our Instagram stories. We didn't do it the other day when we did our live Q&A because we had a lot going on, so we did schedule to do it today. So we had a ton of questions coming in, so I was answering as many as I possibly could. One of my favorites that came in was that someone asked, if we were a Disney villain, who would we be? And we both sat there trying to figure it out, and neither of us came up with an answer, so we literally just snapped a picture and said, what do you guys think? Because we have absolutely no idea. I continued answering questions in our Instagram stories, and Robert kept working. Of course, we were grabbing snacks the whole time, getting drinks, because we do have access to the food. We're gonna make sure we enjoy it while we're working.
We worked all the way up until dinner and then went down there to see if they had anything different tonight. And they did have several different things, although a lot of it was, of course, very similar to what we've had before. They had the vegetable samosas, and they had one of their salads they actually had to modify because there's an allergy in-house today, so they had to tweak it and change what they made it with. And they had a chili that smelled amazing. But we actually didn't try any of the food today because we had dinner reservations with a friend, so we just took pictures of the food and then went back and finished up our work. When we were done, we took our laptops down to our room and then went downstairs to Artist Point for dinner. It is a great dinner. We've had it once before. It is a character meal as well. It has Snow White, Dopey, Grumpy, and the Evil Queen, and we were very excited to be eating here tonight. The meal here is a prefix menu, so you have kind of a shared appetizer and shared dessert, and then you have your choice of the entrees. So while we were trying to decide what entrees we want, we got our appetizer tree put together. There was a chicken dish that's basically like a pate, and it wasn't really any of our favorites. They had a mushroom bisque though that was amazing, and I don't even really love mushrooms that much, but this soup is so good. I kind of wish there was a bigger bowl of it, but we have good food coming, so that's okay. And there was also shrimp cocktail, and of course that's always good. So a nice little start to the meal as we were flipping through the menu trying to decide what we wanted.
They did bring me my own plate because they did have to modify the appetizers just a little bit for me, but that meant I could eat them, which I really appreciated. Once we ordered, we were waiting at the table and the characters started coming around. We got to see Snow White first, and I really like Snow White. I'm really not a fan of the movie itself. It's a little out there for me, but I do like her as a character. Next up was Dopey, and he was probably my favorite to see. He was so sweet, and the person we were with was actually wearing our home shirt, which has our logo on the sleeve. And when Dopey saw that, he walked up to the sleeve, pointed at it, and then looked at us and did a little heart, and I was like, oh, Dopey loves us, that's so amazing. So Dopey apparently watches our videos, and that's like the best thing ever. And last but certainly not least was Grumpy himself, and he lived up to his name. He didn't smile at all in the pictures.
And so neither did I. I had to have a grumpy picture with Grumpy. I feel like it's just bad if you're smiling when he's so grumpy. Of course, I did take a smiling picture as well. I know Dopey is a lot of fun, and it was cool that he recognized us, but Grumpy's still my favorite of the two. He's just so much fun, even though he's no fun at all. Right about the time that Grumpy left our table, our food actually came. Alyssa got something different this time. She got the vegetable gnocchi that smelled really, really good. I was not expecting to want to try this, but it smelled good, it looked good, and I had to try it, and it was very tasty.
This was delicious. I normally don't steer towards something with a lot of vegetables, but it was something the server recommended, and it just sounded really good. And that's exactly what I wanted tonight. It was just one of those really happy home-cooked meals.
And I decided to go with the prime rib because I've already paid a flat price for the meal. I may as well get the biggest, best thing on the menu, and the prime rib did not disappoint. It was so good. Had a little souffle with it too that was a nice compliment, but man, that was an amazing piece of beef, and I am very, very happy that I chose to get that.
And while we were eating, the characters did come back out and they do a whole thing. They get an announcement, they come through dancing, everyone's clapping, except when the queen comes out, then no one really clapped that much. But it was just so much fun because they just go all around dancing, and it adds so much to it. I love the food, it's very good, but the characters add so much to it as well.
When it came time for desserts, they brought around shareable desserts just like they did for the appetizers. We had a gooseberry pie, which is my favorite of the desserts they bring out. It's really good, a little bit tart, but really nice. They have a poison apple, which is basically a chocolate apple mousse, a little bit sour in the center, but it's good too. And they also have a sponge cake with panna cotta that looks really cute. But if you couldn't tell from all the pictures, there's also a lot of coloring in all of the desserts.
They worked really hard to make them look beautiful, and they do. They work with the theming. They are so pretty. I just can't have any of them. And because it is a prefix menu, they don't have other options. So they did bring me out a little piece of an Enjoy Life chocolate bar so I could have something sweet at the end of my meal, which was really nice of them.
And when they brought the check around, they had one more little sweet treat for us. There was some caramel popcorn with a ganache heart in a very special box.
And caramel popcorn and chocolate hearts for you guys.
When it was time to leave, we were requested to go see the Queen. So, of course, we had to go. She is a queen after all. So we did go and take some pictures with her. She also didn't smile in any of her photos, but that's fine because at least she looks really awesome.
So maybe she and Grumpy would make a good couple. Maybe Grumpy could be king. Or maybe not. That's a little bit weird because he's like super... I don't know. They can make it work.
It can work.
They could make it work. She might cut out his heart, but they could probably make it work. After we finished up with our meal, we said goodbye to our friend and headed back up to the club level lounge because they're also having desserts and Alyssa can have the desserts up there. So we went and they had a full spread once again tonight. Of course, they have cobbler like they always do. The apple cranberry one is one of my favorites, not my absolute favorite, but it is really good. I had just a very small bowl of that because I did have a lot of desserts downstairs. There were some different types of cookies, there was little cupcakes, and they also had some citrus curd that I enjoyed. We headed back down to our room to grab a couple things and then head out. But when we got to the room, there was actually a surprise waiting for us there.
We found a plate of chocolate-covered strawberries along with a note, so of course we opened it up. And one of the cast members here at Wilderness Lodge congratulated us for living in the resorts for 300 days. It was so sweet and such a surprise. It was amazing, especially for me tonight because I didn't get to eat any of the desserts at the restaurant we went to. And then I come back and I have all these chocolate-covered strawberries I can eat. I was so excited. I did share a couple with Robert.
Yeah.
I did eat most of them though because I love chocolate-covered strawberries.
It was also pretty cool because we didn't really talk about it when we got here because day 300 is already over. So that means they actually follow us on Instagram or Facebook, which is weird to think about, but it actually makes sense once you think about it. After she had her chocolate-covered strawberries, we did head out. We are going to try and go to some other resorts and get more pictures of the Halloween activities. Several of them didn't put their activities out until today, so we're gonna go and try to check some more off of our list. The first place we wanted to go was Fort Wilderness, so we went down to the boat dock and took a boat over to Fort Wilderness, and when we got there, there was already a party going on for Halloween. Apparently, it's a several day long event at Fort Wilderness.
They had a DJ out playing music there on the beach. They had some food trucks out there. And then when we went in a little further, they had a pumpkin decorating contest, but not with cast members, with the guests. And there were some really awesome ones, some that look like I created them as well. But it's all about having fun, and I just love this so much because they go all out for the holidays here at Fort Wilderness.
They also had a golf cart decorating contest. Unfortunately, it was already judged earlier, so we missed the bulk of that, but we did get to see a couple carts, including one that was a Bantha-inspired Star Wars type cart. That was really cool. They also had a giant Mickey Mouse pumpkin you could take pictures with out there. That wasn't part of the pumpkin contest that we saw. And we finally found the sign that had all the activities listed. Of course, we've missed a day of them because we didn't know they did 2 full days here. Took pictures of that sign, and then we went over to the buses and took a bus up to the front of Fort Wilderness, and then took a bus from there over to Disney Springs. When we got to Disney Springs, we decided to split up to cover more ground. I went over to the boats to take a boat to Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter, and Alyssa went to another boat to go over to Old Key West.
When I got on the boat, I was the only one on there, so I had a solo ride all the way over to Old Key West. They don't have any pumpkin decorating here, but I did find the sign telling what they're doing for Halloween. I snapped that picture and then went back and waited for a boat to go back to Disney Springs so that I could get on a boat over to Saratoga Springs. When I got to Saratoga Springs, there was this little display, and on a pumpkin it said, "Ask us about Halloween." And I was like, That's really weird. So I went inside and I literally looked at the cast member and said, I'm supposed to ask you about Halloween. And she just laughed. She's like, here you go. They don't have a sign here at Saratoga Springs. They're literally handing out pieces of paper that tell you what it is, which I actually like more because it's something you can take with you. You don't have to think about, oh, what time was this? Or did I take a picture of the sign so I know when it is? I actually would prefer that all the resorts do this. I understand why they don't, but I think it would be a lot easier for the guests. That's just my opinion. They didn't ask, so it is what it is. I then went over because they are also doing a pumpkin decorating contest. They had some amazing, adorable pumpkins here. My personal favorite was the cocoa one because it was double-sided and really detailed. There was a Skyliner one, which is very popular this year. Haunted Mansion, of course, because Halloween and everyone loves Haunted Mansion. And there was also a Maleficent one that was really cool and probably there because the movie just came out. Once I got all the pictures of those that I needed, I did head back over to the boats and take a boat to Disney Springs to wait for Robert.
And while she was doing all of that, I was at Port Orleans French Quarter first. They also had a pumpkin decorating contest. They didn't have a ton of them because it's a very small resort, but just like she found at Saratoga Springs, there was also a Skyliner version here. They do such a good job with these things. It's ridiculous how talented some of these cast members are. They had Eve, including the little plant that she finds down on Earth, so that was really cute. They had Cinderella in a storybook that was pretty awesome, and it had a lot of detail, and they also had the electrical water pageant represented. That was a fun one, but when I saw which ones were the winners, it made sense because they were pretty cool. The one was a skeleton and just had all kinds of creepy stuff on it, and the other one was Pluto in the box office with a bunch of candy and popcorn that kind of made me hungry. When I left the pumpkins there and started walking out, I found the sign that shows all of their activities, so I grabbed pictures of those, and instead of waiting for a boat to try and go over to Riverside, I just walked. It's not very far, about a 10-minute walk. So I walked over to Riverside, and when I got there, they also had signs up for their activities, so I took pictures of those, went inside and found that they also had a pumpkin decorating contest. They had some really cool pumpkins here too. I love the R2-D2 with his little trick-or-treating bag. And they had Mike Wazowski, which was really fun. I love the Mickey bar as well. The Mickey bar was very creative. Cinderella's pumpkin carriage that was actually a pumpkin was also kind of clever. I really liked the scene from Nightmare Before Christmas. There was a lot of detail in that. But I also understand why the winner had to be the Jack Skellington painting that wasn't a painting. It was really cool looking, and honestly, if it wasn't made with a real pumpkin, I would totally buy it as a piece of art. After I got all the pictures and video of those pumpkins, I did head back out and wait for a boat back to Disney Springs, met up with Alyssa, and we walked over to the buses back to Wilderness Lodge. Would have been a lot easier if we had a car for all of this, but oh well. We got back to Wilderness Lodge, went up to our room, and were surprised to find a visitor there. So we just found this little guy crawling on our glass door here of the room, where apparently he's been for a while because he's got tracks all over the entire door. I'm not sure what's so amazing about our door, but clearly something is, because he's got little froggy prints all over the entire thing. I don't even know how he got up here. Yeah, so he's just hanging out on our door. Oh, maybe he's gonna go. I bet he's hanging out because there's bugs coming to the door. Smart frog.
Go get it, go get it. You gonna get it? Oh, he was so close. You got it. This was definitely a fun surprise to come back to and made our night. We were cracking up all night about this. It was so funny that we were literally just cheering for this frog, trying so hard, hoping he would get a little bug, and he finally did. We're so glad because he worked really hard for it. After that, it was even later than it was before, so we got ready for bed, and that was the end of our day today. So we'll see you tomorrow
For our Year with the Ears.